It's just that I was planning a quiet night tonight.
You don't need school reunions in Swiss Creek because everyone sees each other all the time up there.
You're lucky. They can be bloody nightmares.
Oh, yeah, especially when you get to the boss's age. I hope they've got wheelchair access, Mrs. Steve.
Oh, very funny.
I don't know. I reckon it'd be great to catch up with all the people I went to school with.
Yeah, that's because you've only just left. You give it a couple of years. You wait for the knives to come out. I'm earning $120,000 a year now, Benny. What about you? You driving your second Mercedes yet?
Oh, I went to a reunion. That was enough. Said I was a copper and the whole room cleared in seconds.
It's not because you're a copper.
So why are you parking out on the reunion, boss?
Listen, that was a private conversation, Parish, and I am not piking out. I just haven't decided.
Well, people have been coming around from all around the country for this. I've been hearing the rumours.
Not
It's going to be huge.
to find out what I'm doing. You can be sure of that. Haven't you got work to do?
Chris isn't going to be happy.
You said you'd come for Nell's sake.
I said I might. I said I might come.
Come on, Tom. You've known about this for months.
Well, look, Digger's not feeling too well. I probably should stay.
Why are you piking?
I'm not piking.
Well, it sounds like it to me. Come on, Tom. You've got to get out sometime. You can't hide away like that forever. Don't you want to even catch up with a few old mates?
They're not my old mates. They're your old mates, or Nell's old mates.
Robert Barton's coming.
Bobby Barton, is he? God, I can't think the last time I saw him. Oh, I suppose I could drop by.
Listen, I just had a call from Russ Cavill. St. Steve-O's hall's on fire.
Have a look at this, boss.
Not too close, Croydon. You don't want to be inhaling these fumes.
Settle down. Looks like it's deliberately lit.
Well, why do you think I called you? OK, you've had your look. Now, I'm going to have to ask you to clear these premises.
Russ, you don't have to push it.
I am not prepared to take responsibility for two police officers.
Keep your shirt on. We are investigating as asked, all right?
Yeah, well, that wiring is damaged and the whole place is going to go up any minute.
You think you've seen enough, Constable?
Yes, I believe I have, boss.
Let's go then, shall we?
Is there much damage?
Yes, there is, unfortunately.
Tom, we've just heard.
We'll still have the reunion, I hope. People will be here in a few hours.
No, there'll be no reunion in there, I'm afraid. I can't let anyone in that building in the state it's in.
Maybe that's our why. Someone doesn't want a reunion.
You mean somebody did this deliberately?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Why would anyone do such a thing?
Especially after all the work you did decorating the hall and preparing all that food.
Robert's coming up specially from Melbourne, you know.
Yeah, I heard. You got to catch up with him.
You two are great mates.
Did you see anyone suspicious hanging around when you're getting the hall ready?
Suspicious? No. Thank you. A couple of the kids from school dropped in to say hello.
It wasn't them, love. I used to teach at St. Stephen's. 40 years a teacher. You can sense when children are up to something.
Mum, Daddy, you all right?
Oh, fine, darling.
So now it was just the two of you at the hall then?
Yes, we spent most of the last 2 days out there.
Oh, Tracy gave us a hand yesterday.
Oh, and Ian Radley was there, of course.
What's this all about?
There was a fire in the hall this afternoon.
What, burned down?
No. It was lit in the fuse box, but it's burned out all the electrical wiring.
Well, it wasn't my fairy lights.
No, I didn't say it was, but would you mind telling us where you were between 3:30 and 4 o'clock?
Hey, you don't think it's got anything to do with me, do you?
We're just filling in the background.
Oh, bloody typical. Something goes wrong and it's my fault, the story of my life. Look,
All right, look,
you
calm
just
down.
check with Chris Riley. I was at the Imperial all afternoon working on the motor of one of her fridges. Just ask her.
Yeah, we'll do that.
As a matter of fact, I was there when she got the message that you were going to pike on her. Boy, was she brown on you.
Don't I know it?
Yeah, I was all geared up for the party, too. I bought a new pair of Daks and everything.
Well, fortunately, it's been transferred to the Imperial.
Ripper. So you going?
I wouldn't miss it for the world.
When I look out at you now, I still see you all as the girls and boys you were when I taught you. Oh, take Chris Riley, for example. I can't see her without picturing this pretty little girl with red pigtails talking up the back of the classroom.
Talking? Me, never.
Doesn't sound like you at all.
No.
But Chris is our lifesaver today, as you know. At very short notice, she shifted the reunion here to the pub.
Good on you, Chrissy.
Hey.
But what I want to say is that tonight is about getting together after all these years, recognising what we share. The years we spend at school...
Dad. Always making a speech, eh?
You're late, son. See me after class. I'd like you now to charge your glasses. I want to propose a toast to you all, students of St. Stephen's. Whether you've been here all along, or whether you've returned especially. Welcome back.
Cheers.
Welcome back.
Bloody good to see you, Tom.
Mate, what's it been, 30 years or more?
You make me feel old. Come over here. Shannon Morgan, I'd like you to meet Tom Cool.
Pleased to meet you. Chris, you remember Chris Riley?
Just a kid when I last saw you.
And you haven't been back in Mount Thomas in all that time, have you?
We heard you'd gone overseas. London, was it?
Yeah, for a while.
And then Mary was talking about this really high-powered job in Sydney.
Well, I've been back in Melbourne. Why? You know, in business there. A bit closer to Mum and Dad.
How is business?
Oh, booming, booming.
What sort of business are you in?
Bit of this, bit of that. Whatever's profitable. But enough of my boring life. I heard you became a copper.
Oh, you want to talk about boring?
He always was the responsible one. He got me at a strike on more than one occasion. Do you remember that time we wagged high school and rode our bikes down the Lake Witchery?
We built this raft.
I was Huckleberry Finn, and Tom, of course, was Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, Tom Sawyer. Very original, Tom Sawyer. I had to drag you out of the water. Remember, the raft went down like a stone. I hope you've taken swimming lessons in the meantime.
No, not me, mate. I stick to dry land now.
It's all right, Sarge. I haven't stolen anything. I haven't started any fires. Just catching up with a few of me mates.
Ian Radley.
Well, look at you, eh? Still another one pain in the ass.
Sociable as ever.
Who are you, his daughter or what?
Oh, well, I guess I'd be all what?
Yeah, what's a young girl like you doing with an old fella like this?
You haven't changed, have you?
Yeah, what's that supposed to mean?
Nothing. I'm just saying you haven't changed.
Yeah, well, you
that's all.
come back here acting all
Ian,
Hey, you always think you're better than me.
Come on, that's enough. Somebody take care of this half.
What's going on? Nothing, Dad. Tom's just doing what he always used to do. Saving the day.
From the minute he came over to St David's Height, we knew he was going to do well for himself. I mean, he's ducks of the school, top marks in matric. He was really going to take on the world. Be someone, you know, be something. And he has. And here I am, still doing what I was doing nearly 30 years ago.
You've done all right for yourself. You know, you don't have to wear a fancy suit to amount to something in this town.
Didn't you ever want to do anything else with your life?
Oh, yeah. I wanted to be a champion rodeo rider and to win the golden guitar at Tamworth.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah. What about you?
Ah, no, country copper, that's about all there ever was. Except...
What?
Well, you know, some of those mornings when I dragged myself out of bed to milk the cows, I used to think it'd be really good to...
What?
Doesn't matter.
Tom?
Oh, there you are. Sorry, Chris. I thought you should know I just got a call from the Bartons. Their house has been burgled.
We left the Imperial at 12:30 and we came home to this. It's our glass collection, or what's left of it.
Some of Robert's old trophies took a walloping too.
So is anything missing?
I don't think so. That's what I can't understand. If they were after money, why didn't they just take the video recorder?
Any idea how they got in?
There was a key under the mat for Robert.
They must have used it and put it back.
Dad?
What's going on? What's happened? Someone broke in, son. My bag's gone too.
Your bag?
I dropped it off earlier. It's gone, and so's my laptop computer.
Right, so what was in the bag?
Oh, clothes, toiletries, about $500–600 worth. But listen, I'm not worried about the money. It's the computer I've got to have back. I mean, everything I need to run my business is on that computer.
Where did you go when you left the reunion?
Am I a suspect, Tom?
No, of course not. It's just that you left the reunion early and your parents stayed to help clean up, but they got home before you did.
I drove Shannon back to Melbourne, actually. Oh, she's got an early start tomorrow. Yeah, modelling job. So, what happens now? You slap the cuffs on me, do you?
I don't think that'll be necessary.
So what time did he leave? Is that right?
Russ Cavill finally got back to us. Evidence of accelerant on the rag, remnants, blah, blah, blah. He went on for hours. Intensity of the heat suggests...
Spare me, please.
Basically, he confirms that the fire at the hall was deliberately lit.
Thank you, Russell.
Sounds like someone's got it in for the Bartons.
Barton's story does check out. He dropped his girlfriend off about 11:30.
Right.
I might get these guys to do a ring around at the second-hand dealer, see if that computer turns up.
I still don't understand why anybody would vandalise the place. I mean, any sensible burglar would just take the computer and bag and leave quietly.
Is there anyone who could have a grudge against the Bartons?
No, not likely.
What about the son?
Robert Barton is a highly successful businessman who's done very well for himself.
In other words, everyone hates his guts. Is there anyone in particular?
What time did you leave the reunion last night?
Bit after 12, something like that.
And where'd you go after that?
Oh, where else is there to go?
Can anyone verify that?
Well, you could ask my goldfish. What's this all about, anyway?
Somebody broke into the Barton house last night.
Oh, I get it. And I'm the #1 suspect, am I? Well, I might have had a skinful last night, Sergeant. Had a bit of a go at the bloke, but I've got nothing against Ken and Mary.
No. I mean, he mightn't have been the best student in the world, and I had to give him 6 of the best a couple of times, but... Oh, look, it was so many years ago.
But he might still harbour some sort of resentment.
Since then, we've got on very well.
He and Robert didn't hit it off too well last night.
Well, he just had a few too many. Was letting off steam. And you have to remember that Ian hasn't always had the easiest life.
Still trying to see the best in people.
Well, why stop now?
Must be good to see so much more of Robert now. Now that he's back in Melbourne.
Well, I'm sure we'd see a lot more of him if he wasn't so busy. He's always working. But we're hoping that this year he'll finally make it for Christmas.
I'm surprised he found time to come up for the reunion.
He said he wouldn't miss it. And we had a bit of business to transact.
What sort of business?
I'd rather not say.
Look, Ken, whoever smashed up your place did it either to get back at you and Mary, which I think is unlikely, or Robert. Now, if he's doing business here in town, it could be relevant to what happened.
I'm sorry, Tom. It's a private family matter.
What sort of business could you run with your family that they can't mention to an old friend?
An old friend who just happens to be a senior sergeant of police, huh?
It can't be illegal, I'm sure of that.
You think it's relevant?
Might be. Thanks for coming in, Tracy. Take a seat. I was just wondering if you could help us with a list of items that were in that cabinet that was damaged.
Oh, Mum would know more about that.
Yeah, how's your boy?
Trent. He's living with his dad now.
Sorry to hear that. Listen, I understand that Robert, is in some sort of business with your father?
What's he told you?
Nothing.
Bloody Robert. Mum and Dad are too trusting. They'll end up losing everything.
How so?
Oh, Robert wants some money for one of his shonky investment schemes, and he wants Mum and Dad to mortgage the house so he can raise some fast cash.
Well, why do you think it was shonky?
Because he's always asking for money. The only time he ever calls up is when he wants one of his so-called loans. And because this time he was actually desperate enough to come up here.
Well, it's a scheme that enables people to convert equity in their home into an investment portfolio. Do you own your own place?
Well, yes, but that's not...
Dead money, Tom. I mean, property prices might creep up, but it's nowhere near the money you can clock up with a few wise choices.
So your business is in property?
Among other things, yeah. Equities, futures, investment advice, a number of different areas. So, what's this little chat, as you put it, all about?
Well, we're just trying to establish some sort of motive for the vandalism at your parents' house.
I don't follow.
Well, maybe you tried to peddle one of your schemes to someone else in Mount Thomas.
And?
Well, maybe you made them the deal and they were unhappy with the fine print.
Tom, I don't understand. Am I being accused of something here? My parents' house is vandalised. My property is stolen, and I'm being accused of what exactly?
Robert, if you're just here...
You know, if you'd asked me any of this privately, as someone who used to be your friend all those years ago, I would have been happy to tell you whatever you wanted to know. But to drag me in here and subject me to this sort of questioning... Can I go now?
Yes, of course.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks a lot, mate.
Check him out.
Might not be a bad idea. Get Stuart onto it. He's still got contacts in major fraud.
This sort of scheme isn't necessarily illegal, just depends on how it's sold.
So what? People sell up their houses and buy a portfolio?
Usually the deal implies that they're buying a mix of blue-chip shares and more volatile stocks, and the legitimate schemes favour the safer choices.
The dodgy ones?
They peddle you the crap. You sell your house, you end up with a portfolio that's worth diddly squat.
It is possible that Bobby Barton's selling a legitimate investment opportunity.
Well, it depends what sort of promise he's making people. With this sort of thing, the devil's in the detail.
Well, as far as we know, he hasn't approached anybody else in town with it. So far, he's kept it strictly within his own family.
Boss, the Bartons are here to see you.
Surely business arrangements with our son are our concern and nobody else's.
I just thought they may have some bearing on this burglary.
Well, I really don't see how.
Look, Tom, We don't want to take this matter any further.
I beg your pardon?
We don't want you to go on investigating the break-in. Especially not if it's going to cause all this trouble for Robert.
Well, it's up to you, I suppose. But I do have to say, as a friend, that this scheme of his does seem to be a bit of a gamble, to say the least.
We're not stupid, Tom. We know that. But the fact is, Robert does need our support on this. After all, he is our flesh and blood. Well, we'd better go back and get onto the insurance people about the glassware.
You do realise he won't be able to make a claim if we don't complete our investigation.
Tom, my bloody car has been vandalised. If I'd have caught the guy in the act, I would have killed him there and then.
Which guy?
Do I have to spell it out?
We'll need some more information. We'll see if there are any witnesses.
Ian Radley is sitting in the pub.
Well, we'll talk to him.
Tom, this is a $60,000 car and it's been scraped to hell and I want something done about it.
Well, we need to get all the details.
You've got all the details. What is this? Oh, I see. You're just going to drag your feet, aren't you?
I can assure you we're going to...
Because basically you agree with the sentiment. You're so green with envy it's coming out of your ears. Just like everyone else in the stinking backwater.
You've given us the information we need. We'll look into it.
Yeah.
Your mate's a real charmer, isn't he?
I didn't do it.
Do what?
Touch his car. He's already gone off at me about it. Not that I wouldn't have minded, it's just that I've got too much respect for cars and that.
What on earth is that?
Hey, that's my ute! How do you like it, Radley? How do you like it when it's done to you? Give it here, you bastard! Give it here! Give me that! All right. You bastard! Once a loser, always a loser, hey? You bastard!
For God's sake, Robert, you're a middle-aged man. Start behaving like one. I ought to lock you both up. You know that, don't you?
Me? What did I do?
You tried to assault him.
It was wrecking my car.
Yeah, just like you did to mine.
All right, let's not start that again. You are going to be charged with criminal damage, and at the moment we don't have enough evidence to charge you, so you can go.
Right. He wrecks my car and I cop the charges.
Acting Sergeant Stewart will take your details.
So you're just going to wash your hands of this, are you?
Will you shut your trap? I'd like to apologise on
Tracy,
behalf...
you don't need to apologise
You
for
should
me.
be grateful you're not being locked up. You've caused trouble ever since you got here. You come up and you sponge off Mum and Dad.
What about you? Have you paid any rent since you moved back in?
I haven't asked for any.
Poor little Tracy. Her marriage breaks up since she moves back in
Don't
with
you
Mum
dare
and Dad.
start.
Even your own son pissed off
All
and left
right, that's enough.
You fight with your sisters like that?
Well, yes.
Yeah, me too. Well, not since I started to shave on a regular basis, but... You know, all is not well with your perfect family.
All families fight, PJ. There's nothing unusual in that.
And there's someone we've left out.
Surely you don't mean Tracy.
No, look, she had access to the hall. She could have lit the fire. Well, when did you say she left the reunion?
I can't remember seeing her leave.
She was at the pub when Robert's car got trashed.
What would be her motive?
Sibling rivalry.
No, don't buy it.
No, I want to have a chat with her.
Sorry, Robert's not here.
Well, actually, we'd like to have a word with you. Do you mind if we come in?
Me? What about?
Just some background stuff on the fire and the burglary.
You think they're connected?
Possibly. Where were you when the fuse box caught fire?
Here, at home, I suppose.
You suppose?
Mum and Dad were getting the food ready. I took a load to the hall and then came back.
What time did you leave the reunion?
About 10:30. Look, what are you getting at?
Then how is it that your parents reported the break-in at 12:30?
Can you tell us where you were?
I went for a walk.
Pretty long walk. Now, would you mind if we come in?
Do you have a warrant?
We could get one.
Then I suggest you do that.
Hey, that computer turned up. Found it in the drain near Swampy Creek.
Looks like someone's been using it for trampoline practice.
The Bartons live behind Swampy Creek.
I still think you're barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah, I still think that we should bring her in for a proper interview.
I don't think Tracy would do anything to harm her parents.
I don't know. I mean, there she is living with Mum and Dad and everything's very cheery. All of a sudden, the prodigal son arrives and things mightn't be so good. I mean...
Well, it's always possible, I suppose.
Yeah, I'll get a warrant. Mr. Barton, how can I help you?
Robert's gone missing.
Are you sure?
His bed hasn't been slept in and no one seems to know where he is.
He's not a teenager, Ken. He could have stayed with a mate.
But he would have let us know. We rang his flat, there was no answer. Rang his mobile, too. Nothing.
Well, he could have been at Shannon's.
We rang her. He wasn't there. Oh, Mary's very worried, Tom.
Any special reason?
Oh, it was all that business yesterday. The way he lost his temper. The fight with Tracy. Yes, we heard about that. It threw him. He was very low at dinner, hardly said a word. He said he was going to have an early night, and his bed hasn't been slept in.
Sorry to interrupt. Boss, can I have a quick word?
Excuse me a moment.
There's been a sighting of Robert Barton's car.
Good, where?
Lake Widgery.
Yeah, well, it's definitely Barton's vehicle. I mean, you can't miss it. It's got wankers scraped on the bonnet.
What about him? Any sign?
Well, according to the locals, Barton came out here first thing. He hired a boat, went out in the lake, and hasn't been seen since.
A boat? Why, he's never been interested in boating. He's always been terrified of the water. You don't think he could...
Oh, there's no point speculating till we know more. There's probably a perfectly innocent explanation.
Can I have a word, Bob?
Is it news?
I won't be a moment.
A fisherman found the boat. No sign of Barton.
What, nothing at all?
No, I'm afraid not. Doesn't look good. So, accident? Maybe. Hey, Rob. Hey, got some blood. Maybe he slipped, hit his head. Maybe. Mightn't even be his. Might have been a struggle. Anyway, forensic will tell us.
There's really not much else we can do for the time being, so why don't you go home and we'll let you know as soon as we hear anything.
Thank you, Tom.
Constable Parrish can give you a lift.
A homicide can investigate, boss?
Well, there's not really much they can do without a body. So for now, it's up to us. Let's assume that somebody else is responsible for Barton's disappearance. Any ideas?
There's only one obvious candidate.
You sound serious.
Yes, we are. Now, look, were you anywhere near Lake Widgery this morning?
Lake Widgery? Why the hell... Oh, hang on a minute. Something happened to Robert.
He hired a boat this morning, went out on the lake, and hasn't been seen since.
And you think I've got something to do with it? Look, I never liked the bloke, but I wouldn't, you know...
No, we don't know, Ian, unless you tell us where you were.
Well, I was at home working on my ute. Well, honest to God, I'm telling you the truth. Oh, I don't know anything about him going missing. Yeah. All right, look. I did do something to the bonnet of his car. I admit that was just to teach him a lesson, but nothing else. No way.
So, forensic will let us know within an hour.
I'm very much afraid it's suicide.
Thank you.
Well, there are easier ways to top yourself.
That was Mrs. O'Brien, Ian Radley's next-door neighbour. She confirms that he was working on his ute all morning.
So who's number 2 on the list?
Well, you know who I think it is. Look, I just think she's involved somehow. When Ken and Mary found out that Robert was missing, where was Tracy? Huh? I mean, was she at home?
I was at the library in St. David's.
Can anyone confirm that?
I don't know. I was reading. Someone might have noticed me.
Right, so you weren't home when your parents had found that Robert had gone missing?
No.
And, Tracy, you were away all morning?
Yes.
And you didn't by chance take a trip past Lake Widgery?
Are you saying I had something to do with Robert's disappearance?
Did you?
No.
And you had nothing to do with the vandalism at your parents' house?
Oh, I don't believe this. Like, what? First of all, I trash my parents' home, then I go on to murder my brother?
You didn't say anything about murder, Tracy.
Well, you didn't have to. Tom, Mum and Dad are worried sick about Robert. I should be at home with them.
Sorry, boss. Can I have a quick word?
Excuse me.
Forensic report's in.
Well?
Blood type found in the boat is the same as Robert's, and it looks like he was on his own.
Well, it doesn't mean that someone didn't do him in. Well, it could have been a pot shot from dry land, from another boat.
Yeah, it could have equally well been an accident.
The sister. Still need to look at the sister.
What do you suggest we do?
We've got a warrant. We should search.
All right, just tread carefully.
Does Tom Croydon know you're doing this?
We do have a warrant to search, Mr. Barton.
Yeah, you think that Tracy had something to do with the fire at the hall? Well, that's absurd.
That's what I told them.
You should be looking for Robert instead of harassing our Tracy.
I don't understand what's happening.
Can you tell me what you were wearing to the reunion, Tracy?
Why do you want to know that?
I was wearing the pink dress.
Tracy, that's your best bag. It's ruined. What happened to it?
I dropped it on the road the other night.
But you had it at the reunion the other night.
Tracy, if you wouldn't mind rolling up your sleeves.
Why?
Please.
I don't have to put up with this. But tell them to get out. They have no right to invade our home like this.
Roll up your sleeves, Tracy.
Oh, go on, huh?
Oh, Tracy, how could you?
I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't let Robert just take the house from under Mum and Dad, and me and Trent.
So you lit the fire?
Yes. I thought if the reunion could be postponed, it would throw a spanner in the works and give me time to talk sense into Mum and Dad.
Well, what about the glassware? Robert's computer?
I tripped over Robert's bag where he dumped it in the middle of the hall. Like he always did all his life. So selfish and inconsiderate. I just lost my temper. And there were Robert's sporting trophies on the top shelf. They were like some sort of shrine to the golden boy. Before I knew what I was doing, I'd smashed the lot. The top shelf just came down and glass sprayed everywhere.
Then you tried to make it look like a burglary again?
Yes. If anyone's entitled to that house, it's me and Trent. It's the only home I've got to offer him. Oh, God.
Robert, Tracy. Do you know what's happened to him?
No. I swear I had nothing to do with Robert disappearing. I admit that I wanted him out of our lives, but I'm not a killer, Tom. You've got to believe me.
The Bartons don't want to press charges. I doubt if the school authorities will be so lenient.
It doesn't get us any closer to finding out what happened to him, though.
Murder or suicide? What a choice.
I just got off the phone to Major Fraud. Looks like your school chum, Robert Barton, wasn't quite the high flyer he made himself out to be.
That doesn't surprise me.
He's been living on credit mostly, months behind in repayments on his luxury flat, and even the beloved Beamer was on the never-never. And a mate from the Securities Commission reckons that he was in no position to offer financial advice to anyone.
All right, we need to find out what else he's been up to.
His latest scheme had just crashed. It looks like he was looking for some capital to deal himself back into the game.
Ken and Mary's house.
Wouldn't have got him far anyway. The ASC were about to nab him.
So, it was all falling apart. Maybe it was suicide.
What about the blood in the boat? I mean, he's hardly likely to slash his wrists and try to drown himself.
Insurance. Think about it. He needs the money. And no insurance company is going to pay out if it was a suicide. But if he fakes his death, he's going to get a big payout.
So who's the beneficiary?
He's dead, isn't he?
There's no evidence to suggest what's happened to Barton at this stage.
When I heard he was missing, I drove straight up here. His mum and dad are frantic.
Did he mention any business activities he might have been involved with recently?
Robert never really spoke to me about his work.
Is there anything you can tell us about his state of mind prior to the accident?
State of mind. What, do you think he's... No.
Oh, we don't know for sure.
He wouldn't ever do that. But he did tell me that he was working with some people who had threatened him.
Oh, did he ever give you any names?
No. Well, he didn't like to talk about it. And he said it was all going to blow over soon anyway. But he did say they were dangerous. That's why he was staying up here, to be... But now it looks like they've caught up with him anyway.
Has Robert been in contact with you recently?
No. Not since the night of the reunion.
And that's the last you saw of him?
Yeah.
We're going to need to widen the search and update homicide even if we haven't found the body yet. Now, this is making it more likely that we're looking at murder.
No, it's in her interest to deny suicide. Look, if he topped himself, she's not going to get a big insurance payout, is she?
Boss, that was search and rescue out at the lake. I think they found something.
Yes, that's the jacket he was wearing.
It's mine. He borrowed it.
He didn't bring one with him.
But this doesn't necessarily mean
Do
it's...
you know whether this jacket was damaged or torn when you lent it to Robert?
No. Of course.
So, to the best of your knowledge, this hole is new?
He's shot.
Well, we don't really know for sure.
It has to be sent to forensic.
It'd be blood, surely.
It was in the water, sir.
Look, we don't know for sure.
Ken, it's obvious what it means. It doesn't look so good, does it, Tom?
No, it doesn't.
How long do we have to wait before we know for certain?
We probably won't get a report back from forensic until tomorrow. We'll keep searching for a body, of course, but it could still take days, weeks.
In the meantime, we're in limbo. We can't even bury him.
Would you like to have a service at St. Stephen's? That'd be possible, wouldn't it, Tom?
As far as I know.
We could get some of the reunion people to come. People who knew Robert when he was a boy.
Well, there'd be a lot to organise. I'd have to book the church and let the people know.
That's no trouble.
Tom, you'll be there, won't you?
Of course.
I just did a bit more digging into Robert Barton's financial affairs. It turns out he spoke to his broker yesterday and upped his life insurance.
How much?
A cool $750,000.
Do you ever get the feeling you're being led up the garden path?
Are you accusing me of having something to do with Robert's death? That's ridiculous.
What time did you arrive in Mount Thomas this morning?
Well, I came up right after I spoke to Mrs. Barton on the phone. I would have left at about 9.
Well, we phoned your agent. She mentioned that you had work on this morning, but you cancelled at the last minute.
Yeah, so?
You rang your agent at 8.
That's an hour before you spoke to Mrs. Barton, before you even knew that Robert was missing.
Yeah, well, I was exhausted this morning, okay?
Well, maybe you already knew that he was dead at the bottom of the lake.
I didn't kill him. What reason would I possibly have?
A big insurance payout.
What?
You didn't know that Robert doubled his life insurance yesterday?
No. No, I didn't know that. And I don't care. See, I don't want Robert's money. I earn more than he does anyway.
You're not going to turn down the cheque when it arrives, though, are you?
Was Robert in Melbourne with you last night?
I told you I haven't seen him since the night of the reunion.
Did you help him set this up? Or was this your way of ending the relationship?
If you must know, I was out last night. In fact, I was out all night.
Can anyone verify that?
Oh, look, only a few hundred people. I was guest DJing at a nightclub.
Very smart, boss.
Thank you, Constable. You right, PJ?
Yeah. Boss, I don't think there's going to be much of a turnout here.
Doesn't sound like Robert Barton was the most popular guy around.
Yeah, just because you die, and you have a bit of a memorial service. And why should everyone front up and pretend that they like you?
Basic respect for the family, Lawson. Which is why I'm taking PJ and Parrish with me.
What? Well, do I need to be in dress uniform?
You look the picture. Come on.
Shall surely follow me, and in God's house forevermore, my dwelling place shall be.
I now call upon one of Robert's oldest friends, Tom Croydon, to say a few words. Thank you, Senior Sergeant.
I can't say that I knew Robert Barton very well at all, but About 40 years ago, I knew Bobby Barton about as well as I knew myself. He was a terrific kid, always full of mischief like any normal kid. But it was never malicious. It was never meant to harm. And one of the nicest things about him was the fact that he was always prepared to own up and face the music. He'd just come right out and admit that he was wrong and take whatever punishment was due. And I can't tell you how much I used to admire him for that. I thought that took real courage. I'd like to think that Bobby... I'll always think of him as Bobby. I'd like to think that he's not too far away. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he was looking down on us right now. And if he is, I'd just like to say this to him. Success is relative. You can have all the trappings of worldly wealth, but what matters more are the things you can't buy. Like a loving family, weeping at your funeral. Or old mates who are really sorry that you've gone. Or you had both those things, Bobby. So I reckon you haven't done too badly.
We will now all join in prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be
You shouldn't just stay here for a minute. I won't be long. Yeah. Bobby.
Yeah. You're right, Tommy. You're absolutely right. I've been a fool. A stupid bloody fool.
You see? You can still admit to your mistakes.
You knew I was up here, didn't you?
I reckoned you wouldn't be able to resist. So what was it like attending your own funeral?
Pretty damned humbling.
Come on.
I had some clothes and cash hidden in the bush. And from there, I cut across to St. David's.
Quite a hike without a push bike.
Took me half a day.
What about the jacket and the blood in the boat?
I had to make it look convincing, so I cut myself with a penknife.
Was Shannon Morgan involved?
No. I did all this on my own.
But you would have needed her to claim insurance.
I didn't care about the money.
I'm sorry, I find that hard to believe.
You can believe what you like, mate. What exactly am I being charged with, Tom?
False report to police, for a start.
We should interview Shannon again.
I don't really see any point.
She's in it up to her neck. Conspiracy to defraud the insurance company.
She didn't make a claim, PJ. Look, we stopped them. And I doubt whether it's a stunt either and we're going to attempt again in the future.
So what about Barton? I mean, he wasted our time. You just going to let him go with a rap over the knuckles?
No, we're not.
What the hell were you doing, son?
Oh, Tom, we're so sorry we've caused you all this trouble.
No, he's alive. Isn't that what's important?
I blame myself.
Dad, I did this. You're not to blame. Am I free to go?
You've been bailed on your own undertaking to appear at St. David's Magistrates Court on the 9th of June.
Fine.
You may also be asked to cover the costs incurred by search and rescue and looking for your body.
What?
I'm afraid it could run into tens of thousands.
I can't lay my hands on that sort of money.
We'll find the money somehow.
Come on, Robert. You're coming home.
After everything he's done to them, they're still willing to pay his debts.
His family. Well, that is the last reunion of any kind that I want to go to for at least another 20 years.
Will we still be here, do you reckon?
I hope so. I'm not planning to go anywhere else.
Me neither.
Well, here's to us. The ones who stayed.
Cheers. So, what were you going to tell me when you were daydreaming, milking the cows?
Oh, that. Well, it's silly, really. I mean, it probably would never have happened.
Oh, come on, tell me.
Well, I used to think it'd be really... I mean, if I wasn't going to be a copper, it'd be really good to...
Yeah?
Well, it'd be terrific, really. I mean, it'd be fantastic to win a gold medal at the Olympics, you know, the marathon or something.